Hey guys, so today we're going to do a full run through of our Caravan, Titanium Hardcore ATX. Stick around and we'll give you some hints and tips when setting up your Caravan to keep the weight down and make it practical for a family. So we'll start at the front of the Caravan and we'll work our way right round, and then we'll jump inside later on and we'll go through the inside layout and the full electrical system. So pretty much as a standard now is a DO35 hitch, your 12-pin trailer plug, an Anderson plug to charge your batteries, obviously your jockey wheel, and a breakaway system, which is mandatory obviously in this weight of Caravan. So one of the most important things when I was setting up this Caravan was somewhere to put push bikes. If you're not planning to do dirt roads, putting push bikes on the back of the Caravan will be fine. As soon as you hit a dirt road though, it will trash those push bikes. All the bearings will be full of dust. So this is something that was a must for us, and we really factored in how much weight this was going to add to the Caravan when we were building it. And we'll get to the total weight at the end. I'll show you the tear weight of this Caravan, which we were really surprised with. It's lighter than we thought it would be, but that was our aim, to keep the weight down but also have an ATX. We liked a lot of the features in the ATX. So the front of the Caravan was pretty much set up around the fact that I knew that I wanted to put a bike rack on top of the toolbox and on the front of the Caravan. So the ATX toolbox is usually quite a lot larger, and we opted for the standard hardcore toolbox for the simple fact that personally I don't think you need that much storage, and if you had a toolbox that big and you completely filled it, the ball weight would be that over the top. It wouldn't be funny. So that size toolbox plus your tunnel boots and whatnot, which we'll get into soon, is more than enough storage. The other thing, if you come in here, the two 4.5 kilo gas bottles is more gas than you'll ever need. 2 9 kilos is just overkill, especially with the way the electrical systems are set up in these Caravans now. You are cooking a lot of the time on a induction cooktop, plus your fridge is only 12 volt, there's not a gas fridge in it. So just a little thing like that, adding 2 4.5 kilo gas bottles versus 2 9 kilos can save you weight, but also brings your stone guard back closer to your toolbox. A lot of people would know, and if you don't, it's something to get caught out by, is if you have a ute, especially the overhang of your tray whilst trying to turn and jackknife, can come into contact with your stone guard. That is as far back as it will go, and it's still very close. So if I had 2 9 kilo gas bottles, it adds, roughly around 50 mil forward, which doesn't sound a lot, but you just don't need 2 9 kilos either. So that's something I really think you should look at, because most Caravans come standard with 2 9 kilos. It shouldn't be overlooked to go back to 2 4.5s. So the bike racks are Rocky mounts, and we'll show you how the bike goes in. They'll suit from a 16-inch tyre all the way up to a 29-inch tyre. Super easy to use, super solid. I did have to make the steel rack up that they actually mount to, so it basically replicates a set of roof racks on a car. All those bike racks, the steel frame that supports them and the bikes in them adds 80 kilos, which is quite a bit, but push bikes are one of those things. I would say most people wouldn't leave home without them. They need to be able to come on and off the van quickly and easily, or they won't come off the van. If they're a real pain, or you've got to take the wheels off, that was our main goal with this, was to make it quick and easy to use, have the wheels on the bikes all the time, and to try and keep it as light as possible, which it does add a fair bit of weight, but we built the van around knowing that we were going to do these things, so you can plan for it. So I'll quickly run through just how the bikes go on these racks. This was really important when we were building the van, to be able to get the bikes on and off really quickly and easily. And now there's a camera in front of me, I'm sure I'll make it really hard, but we'll give it a crack. So that locks the front wheel in, stops the bike going from side to side. There is little straps on the wheels, which you definitely probably want to put it on the back tyre. The front tyre, it is optional. If you're going for it's a longer journey, doesn't hurt to strap them in as well. But it is that simple, and I wouldn't have done it any other way. Really happy with that setup. Righto, let's talk about the chassis, the Caravan, suspension and stone protection. So we do run a stone stomper. It's not on the vehicle at the moment. We haven't had one before. This is the first Caravan we've had one on, but we've travelled with people that have had one versus us not having one, and yeah, they do work. They definitely work. You've just invested God knows how much in your caravan. Everything's getting that much more expensive now. They just keep going up. You want to protect it, so that $700 investment will eventually pay for itself for sure. So we'll come down. We went for a full gow chassis, because I've also seen that in the past. The amount of stone damage you can get off your chassis, if it's not gow, it will strip the paint and you'll end up with just a rusty coloured chassis. Keep in mind the gow chassis did add 50 kilos. So this is a 19-foot van. We have friends that have a 19-foot hardcore, and the chassis weight is actually stamped on it. They did estimate around 50 kilos in the factory, and I think it ended up being 52 kilos exactly. So they're on the money with their estimates with how much weight that gow chassis will add. For me, it was worth the extra weight just to have that protection. So a bit more stone protection. So we've got the stone stomper. This is something I've added. This is Busy Bee brushware. Anything you can do to stop stones going down past underneath the caravan and bouncing back up and hitting pipes, knocking paint off things is worthwhile addition, that's for sure. Because we run the stone stopper, I'll move the mud flaps off the stone guard that came with the caravan back to where the stone stomper attaches to. So something we were really excited about when we ordered the van was the airbag system. We went with the ATX system mainly because of the bags that they use versus the XT. So the ATX uses a rolling sleeve setup, which is used in semi-trailers and stuff like that. So it is a heavier, dudier style airbag. To say that there's anything wrong with the XT system, there wouldn't be. You could probably call the ATX a little bit overkill, but this was a dream setup for us, so we just ticked that box and we've been really happy with it. So I've got the van at full height here, and it's a level 3 wireless system. So when they say wireless, that is truly wireless. So just the amount of travel you get out of it, it is quite a lot, and it actually moves quite fast, as you can see. It almost negates the need to have wheel chocks to get your van level. In most situations, this is enough to get your van level. It's about 120 mil of travel, so you can double that. That's 240 mil of travel, if you have one side fully down, one side fully up. The other benefit is, if you're on a fairly flat, level ground and you can completely deflate the airbags, it nearly negates the need for your stabilizer legs because it sits on the bump stops and the van is solid enough without putting your stabilizer legs down, which if you're a lazy camper like me, anything you don't have to do that can get you into a beer sooner is a winner. So we're running 285, 75, 16-inch Mickey Thompson, so almost a 33-inch tyre. All the wheels and tyres are interchangeable with our tow vehicle. That's something really important to think about if you're going to build a caravan from scratch. Make sure you can do that. It is really worthwhile. So I quickly just run down the side of the van. A lot of these things are standard on most vans. Not a lot we have changed. So as you can see, that's how we travel. We've got heaps of room, and that's another reason why we didn't go with the massive big ATX toolbox on the front. We just don't feel like we need that much storage space, especially with the size of these tunnel boots. So we go, the other bonus, the layout of our van and the way we designed it, we ended up with a mini tunnel boot behind the main one. So the old boxes of wine and beer go in there. That's our cellar. Quite handy, that one. I always used to say you can't have too much storage space, but I think we actually do have too much storage space in this, which is not a bad thing. So we've got our water filler, second water filler down behind. So we run 3 85-litre poly water tanks, which we've found to be heaps of water because we also have the 100-litre water tank in the ute. We've got your doors for your fridge vents. So all these are to do is to ventilate the fridge once you pull up. They're not a necessity to open. It'll just make your fridge run a bit more efficiently and it'll use less power. So it is a really clever little touch that Titanium do, which I haven't seen any others do. We left the grey water tank in. More and more places are going to ask for this. I have spoken about the Big Red Bash in other videos. That is a perfect example where you do need a grey water tank. Yes, you're not going to be able to catch 240 litres of water, but just having that 80-litre capacity in there might get you out of trouble a couple of times. And it's a really good little convenience to have, and it doesn't really add any extra weight when it's empty, so you may as well leave that in there. So we've got the standard gas hot water system. Be mindful of the location of it though. Our shower's at the back of the van on the passenger side, and our kitchen's on the driver's side about midway. So the hot water system is perfectly situated halfway between the two. If you're in the shower and your hot water system's right at the other end of the van and you turn the hot water on waiting for hot water, you might waste 5 or 10 litres every time you have a shower just waiting for that hot water to come through. So that was a little bonus. We thought about that after we got the van and went, you know, that was such a good spot to have that, and it's something you should think about when designing and building a caravan, is where that is in regards to where you're going to want hot water. So the back of the caravan, there's not a lot to talk about except the fact that we do only have one spare. 2 spares is overkill, especially if you're running a quality tyre. The extra weight to lug around 2 spares is crazy in my eyes. You just really don't need 2 spares if you've got quality tyres. The rear bumper is only a 3-arm rear bumper. You can go to a 5-arm rear bumper if you're going to put jerry cans and whatnot on the back of it. Again, really assess whether you need that. Every little thing you add adds also weight, and weight's such a big thing. We left the external shower in it. We have used it. It is handy. We did look at deleting it when we were building the van. Glad we didn't. It's definitely worth having. So I'll quickly run down the side of the van. We've got a Dometic pull-out awning, which is pretty normal. We have a regular cartridge toilet. We did look at the composting toilet. I haven't really read that many good reviews about them lately. The complexity of it, yeah, these just work. They are quite effective. We're thinking about getting a second cartridge for a longer trip. We really like that idea, because once you've had a toilet in a caravan, you realise how convenient that is. It's going to be very hard to ever go back one day. Not saying never, but having the toilet is really handy, and having that second cartridge with kids, yeah, we're probably really going to look into that. The other things we added were the bug lights. It's still up in the air whether they make any difference to how many bugs actually get around the light. They look really cool though, so that's something to think about. So we did put an extra drop-down table on. Little things like this for the cost versus the practicality, super handy. If you're doing a quick stopover for the night and you don't want to drag, you know, the full table setup out, that's generally enough. A lot of the time we put the induction cooktop out here, got power right there, and that's enough just to cook on for the night. It's one less thing you got to pack up. Like I say, I'm a pretty lazy camper. Keep it easy and enjoy other things rather than just setting up, packing up camp all the time. So I keep walking up the front. We've got the regular door. Great thing with titanium caravans, and another reason why we were drawn to them was the size of the windows they use. They're awesome, but we'll see that inside more later. Right up the front here, we did away with the full pull-out kitchen. Again, it had a fair bit to do with weight versus use. We've had a caravan slash hybrid camper style of caravan before with a full pull-out kitchen, and cooking outside is fantastic, but we found the washing up and putting everything away outside is painful. You're generally doing that later in the night. You leave things out to dry and all the bugs just get on all your freshly washed stuff. The whole idea of having your pull-out kitchen was still very attractive to us, but we really didn't want the sink, so we're like, well, all you're doing is having a pull-out burner. So one of the other benefits of going to the ATX is they do normally come with a barbecue Weber slide in that front toolbox. However, we just didn't feel like, for a family, yes, we could have got away with the barbecue, but we really wanted that next size up in barbecue. So we chose to put our barbecue in the front tunnel boot, which is also closer to where the awning is. And we found this great Weber slide off-road down under. It's a full aluminium slide. It's a lightweight option, and it fits a barbecue or a Weber 2000. Has all the brackets to bolt it down, and it's just a great piece of gear. That slides out. Comes with a little clip-on table, which will be in the bush here, but anyway. Obviously, the arms on your barbecue still fold out, so you've got plenty of room to sit things. This is all the external kitchen you need, in my eyes. Still got your sink inside, so once you finish cooking, wash up inside. You can set the induction cooktop on the drop-down tables, and the amount of weight that saves versus to having a full stainless steel pull-out kitchen, this is the go. So right at the pointy end of the build, we still really were worried about the weight. We've got the Land Cruiser with the GVM upgrade, but it still does add up. We were really pleasantly surprised that this came in at 2640, 2.64 tonne. I really thought it would have been heavier. So the key things we did to keep the weight down but still have the things we wanted were the fact that it is based on a 19.5 foot van. We cut it back to 19 foot. Having one spare tyre versus two, having the smaller ATX front toolbox, having 4.5 kilo gas bottles versus 9 kilo gas bottles. We did delete the washing machine inside. We have the power and the water there for it if we ever want to add it. Keep in mind the 4.5 kilo washing machine front loader is 54 kilos on its own. So you start to add up all those little things and it can make a significant difference in the tear weight of your caravan and being able to tow it with anything other than an American truck. We didn't want an American truck. We believe the Toyota Land Cruiser, whether it be a 79 or 200 or anything like that, is the best platform to tour with in Australia. Reliability, parts, all those things are really important. And honestly, it gets to the point where it's just too heavy. Like, how much stuff do you lug around? This is still like living in a luxury apartment building for us. It's more than you need. Once we get inside, we'll show you the full layout inside, the full electrical system. We really haven't done away with that many luxuries to keep the weight down. Just a few little smart things you can do and really think about when you're setting up your caravan. Do you really need a 21.5 foot caravan? Yes, the overall length of the van doesn't add huge amounts of weight, but it still adds weight, and it's all the little things that add up together to create something that is mostly on the road too heavy for the tow vehicle.
Hey guys, I'm shit at this. Hey guys, Adam's better half.
Debatable.
So today I'm going to show you through the inside of our van because I think a lot of you wives and girlfriends out there would love to see the inside and just how we came up with the colour choices, layouts, all that sort of thing, you know, all the fun stuff basically. So anyway, come on in. Shoes always off. So one of the first things we decided we were going to do with this van was obviously make it shorter. So it's a 19-foot van as opposed to the standard 19.6. So in doing that, we decided to go with the east-west bed. It has a little bit of a sort of a walkway down the end, which makes it really easy to get in and out of. Having this style of bed in this layout does allow us to have a little bit more living space. And to be honest, while we're still fairly young, I guess, we can still just climb in and it's no dramas. I did actually think having this style of bed would, like, for some reason was a shorter bed, but it absolutely isn't. Like, I'm pretty tall, and when I'm in bed, my feet don't hang off the edge at all. So it's great. It's a great setup. I think definitely if you're younger, you can totally handle it, and it does give you heaps more space in here. Our clothes go above the bed. So as you can see here, heaps and heaps of storage. Nothing in there at the moment. So that's heaps and heaps of storage for us. You do also have this tiny little one over here as well, which we just put random things in at the moment, but we will probably put clothing in there. And then we have a little wardrobe space over here as well. So there's some hanging in there, but as you can see, you're probably not going to be hanging too much in there. And a little drawer here as well for like undies and socks and stuff. So we decided in the end to stick with the sort of typically old school layout of having your kitchen on the driver's side and having the dining table on the door side of the caravan. At the time when we ordered this caravan, there was a lot of people switching it up and putting the kitchen on the door side of the caravan, which all looks lovely because you can serve out the window and you can sit there and look at everyone. But for us, making this van a little bit smaller so we could keep it lighter meant that we went back to having the kitchen on the driver's side, and that allowed us to be able to push this table right in, and you have this huge space right here, and it just feels so much more open. Doing this layout has definitely helped make it heaps more spacious inside. So a few things that we changed in the kitchen was deleting the oven. That was the first thing that we did, and there was no question about it. It had to go. We put in a massive pot drawer in its place, which is really, really handy. I'd rather have that than the oven. Obviously we've got the Weber outside and we cook on it all the time. I don't do much baking as such, so it didn't really worry me.
I know that.
The other thing that we did was we got rid of the drainer on the sink. So typically this sink comes with a drainer on the side, which would have taken up a fair chunk of maybe this side of the vent. We have a little, like a Kmart drainer thing that we use, and it's perfect. It's just, you know, can't complain there. I'd rather the extra bench space. So the pantry was another sort of thing that we had to think about. I really loved those little pull-out pantries that are in a lot of caravans these days, but it just wasn't going to be practical in this caravan. So what we did instead was we put these drawers in under the bed. So a lot of our heavier stuff goes down below. So these little drawers down here are perfect for all your tin food, anything heavy, plates. We put cups, coffee machine, all that sort of thing goes down there, just to keep the weight down low. We've also got these overhead cupboards above the dining area. These are really, really big, and they store so much, to the point where just about every trip we've been on so far, this one has pretty much been almost empty, and pretty much just that's all that's in it. This one's chockers, all our food, you know, chips, biscuits, all that sort of lightweight stuff goes up there. So we ended up with a 275 litre Thetford fridge. It wasn't the fridge that we wanted initially. We had the 224 litre fridge in our build. Stocks and circumstances during the build meant that we couldn't get that size at the time. So they upgraded us to this size. And to tell you the truth, I thought it was going to be too big. It's awesome. I wouldn't have anything smaller. Just the size of the freezer alone means that we can take heaps more meat. It seems overkill to have this size fridge and freezer, but it is super handy. Come down and have a look at the bunk and the bathroom setup. We've got the double bunk set up, and we chose to have the bunks on the driver's side, mainly because when the awning's out and we're sitting out there having a few drinks and laughs at night, we wanted the kids to be able to sleep, and not that we're loud, but...
Oh, we are sometimes.
But just to have that little bit of extra protection from the noise, basically. So that's really good. And they can't peep out the windows at us. We've also got these drawers underneath the beds, which are really, really handy. Obviously, if you had a triple bunk, you may not have these awesome drawers, but they're just for all the kids' craft, DVDs, board games, that sort of thing. So cupboards at the back. This is obviously where the normal washing machine would go. We took it out because of weight, and it's huge. It's great for shoes, dirty laundry, all that sort of thing in there. Up here we've got like little pigeonholes for the kids' clothes, some hanging space. Seems to work well, but the pigeonholes I'd probably take out and just fully do shelves next time. All right, so we'll move into the bathroom now in here. So it's your typical bathroom setup. We went with the black pack, obviously, again, so we get the black sink with that. We've got the Thetford toilet. That is the shower in there, and I love how they do this full-length mirror here because it just makes this little space look heaps bigger. Got heaps of storage up here. Usually put extra towels and toiletries up in there. And down below we have another cupboard, which is a mess, but really handy for extra toiletries. My fake plant would normally go here, but when we're traveling, Adam doesn't like the fake plants in the caravan.
Stupid fake plants. Like cushions.
Then coming into the shower here, it's a really good size, and we continued with the black pack again.
Right, so let's talk about all the hardware in the van, all the electricals, and there's a few little things we changed as opposed to a lot of the other setups these days to suit our needs and how we were going to use the van. One of the main things for me was we came from a hybrid camper trailer sort of style of camping. And if I was going to tow basically a small house around behind me, which is how I feel about this short 19-foot van, was everything had to be able to work off-grid. There's no point having all this space and not being able to use anything in it unless you're plugged into 240, in my eyes, that is. So it's reasonably a standard thing these days, but we'll quickly run through it. So we've got 400 amps of lithium, 40 amp DC, 60 amp AC charger. We have a separate TriStar solar regulator, which handles all the solar panels on the roof. So we'll just break that down. We've got 850 watts of solar on the roof. I don't think you can have too much solar. I think you can have too much battery. So if you 400 amps of battery to try and get that fully charged from zero or from nearly flat, you need as much solar as you can possibly fit on the roof. You can't really have too much solar, and it is one of the cheaper things to add is extra solar panels, as long as you've got the room on the roof of the van. You will notice we have DCS batteries. Most of these caravans, or pretty well all of these caravans, will come with an Enerdrive battery system. And it's not because we didn't like the Enerdrive setup, it's just because I previously used DCS batteries and we had such a good experience with them. And at the time, the warranty was better. It's not anymore, it's matched. But I can't complain about the DCS stuff. I can't complain about the Enerdrive stuff either. We just went DCS because we knew it. The rest of the system is an Enerdrive system, and it's been faultless. The fact that it's set up so you can charge 40 amp off the car plus up to 40 amp off the roof at the same time in between stops really recharges those batteries quickly. So when I said you could have too much battery, I really do believe that. Those DCS batteries are 32 kilos each. The lithium revolution brought in such a great weight saving, but then everyone just started putting more and more batteries in their Caravan, so you start to negate that weight saving. And if you don't use that capacity, there's no point lugging that extra weight around. The other thing being, if we had say 600 amps of lithium in there, we would struggle to ever get that fully charged off the solar alone. So if you're camped up for weeks on end, you will never get that charge fully back in those batteries, or at least I don't believe so. So I think a 400 amp setup with 850 watts on the roof and a separate regulator, so when you're driving you can get 40 amps off the car and up to 40 amps off the roof, is the perfect setup for that amount of batteries. The other important piece of hardware, the fact that we have a hydraulic disc setup, so we got the hydraulic actuator under the bed, and then also the compressor for the airbag system. It is really well done, and it was such an important thing for us when we were ordering the Caravan to have, you know, the electrical system to back up everything else in the van, so you can use everything off grid. So we're also running the EnerDrive 2600 watt inverter. It's the auto changeover system. It is literally just push of a button and then everything in the van is live. Fantastic setup, and it just works really well. So the inverter allows us to use your microwave, your kettle, induction cooker, pretty much any 240 volt appliance you could use at home, you could just about use in the Caravan. And some things you can use simultaneously. We have a little toaster that we can use whilst the microwave is running also. So it is really a must. If you're into this price range of Caravan, and you can all go and have a look, like it's not a cheap exercise. They're mad if you don't make it so you can use everything whilst you're off grid. There's a lot of talk out there about being able to run an aircon off a system this size, and you absolutely can run it. It's not something that you can run day in, day out, you know, and be able to get that amount of power back into your batteries. So we have tested it. We run it for about 6 hours at a camp one night, and the next 3 days after that, the sun never really came back out, and we made it, but we struggled. We did start to struggle for power a little bit. So this is something to be aware of. So I would say this size system is enough to run a massive 12 volt fridge and all your 240 volt appliances like your induction cooker, your microwave and whatnot, which are only, you know, being used for 5, 10, 15 minutes at a time, to run your aircon for hours and hours on end, day in, day out. That's not big enough. You can do it for a short period of time just to quickly cool the van, or if you pull up for a lunch break, turn it on, 100%. That's the perfect scenario to use it. And then you keep driving to your destination, your batteries get a chance to be fully charged before you pull up. So having all that power and the ability to run everything, you really need to be able to monitor it properly. So we opted for the Seamarine system, and it was a bit more of an expense. And to be honest, I think the little EnerDrive battery monitor is probably enough in most cases. I just really wanted to be able to monitor loads and inputs separately, and the Seamarine allows you to do that. Being able to monitor all those things separately is also a really good way to diagnose if you've got any issues. You hook your car up, you start your car, you come in just to make sure your van's charging before you head off for the day. And if you didn't have separate readouts for all the inputs, the solar panels could be putting that much charge in that you think that your car is charging the Caravan, which in fact it may not be working. So having all those as separate shunts and separate inputs is a great way to know if anything's going wrong, and you know, you can make sure your food's going to be cold when you get to that destination and diagnose a problem before you even leave for the day. The other benefit of having the Seamarine is all your water tank levels are all on that one screen. We actually put a dual axis leveling meter, which you can touch to that system, which is awesome for leveling up your Caravan. Just tells you if the van's level on the screen, and has something else, but I can't remember what it is. It's awesome, just get the Seamarine. So yes, the Seamarine's a little bit of an expense. For those reasons that I mentioned before, being able to figure out if something's going wrong, being able to see all your loads individually going in and out, I probably would put that in again. It's something I have used a lot. The other things we added to the van were the Caravan positive pressure system. I personally wouldn't build a new Caravan if you're going to take it off-road without adding some sort of pressurizing system, and that is at the moment the best on the market, and really the only thing on the market. There are other van or hybrid manufacturers out there that have been doing this for quite a while, but it's usually only ever been the hybrid style Caravans. So that is a fantastic little invention. And yeah, I wouldn't have ordered the van without that. That is very important if you're going to do any dirt roads and get to those remote areas dust free. One of the other major pieces of hardware we added to the van was a Webasto diesel heater. We went with diesel just because of my fear of gas. I'm a bit funny about it. That's why I've never owned a gas fridge in a caravan either. Having a flame inside your van running off LPG, for me, it doesn't feel right. So diesel feels like a lot safer solution, and it works flawlessly. It gets super, super warm.
Anyway guys, that's our Caravan, a titanium 19-foot hardcore ATX. We absolutely love it. Stay tuned for some more videos that are upcoming. We've got a big trip planned for July, and we'll show you a few other things when we're packing and prepping for that trip.
You've got to do the sign out, Mum. Come on.
Oh yeah, and remember, you only live once, so get out there and enjoy it.
That's cornier than how I do it.